Madam DA, I guess my first question to you is, do you think that the recall would have happened had Chesa Boudin not been recalled in San Francisco?
Probably not. Probably not.
And why?
Because I think the same forces that were successful in San Francisco have come to Alameda County with this expectation that they'll be able to achieve the same result.
Do you place any blame on the media for overblowing what you're trying to do here or not giving you sufficient room to do it?
Absolutely. I think that the media has it's profited from what happened in San Francisco, and so it's very easy to believe that if they can create a similar scenario in the East Bay, then there'll be similar profits. And this is a bigger market, and so I definitely understand that there is a motive behind all of the media coverage that we're getting.
Do you think that calling your potential recall a Republican recall, when almost 79% of voters voted Democratic in the last presidential election, unless 18% are Republican, is it really a Republican recall?
I think that we know that the Republican Party of Alameda County has has sponsored and is pushing the recall narrative, and they started doing that after I'd only been in office less than 3 months, and that those who are joining in it nationally, I think, there's a very active conservative and likely Republican-based motive and movement to undermine progressive prosecutors nationally.
Do you think the bad guys fear the DA's office?
No, I don't. Most of the bad guys are not paying attention to what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How would you address a number of murder victims' families who say your office simply didn't adequately charge the defendants, who thereby got or will get lighter sentences?
Yeah, I say to those families, our heart goes out to you. We really appreciate that the harm that you've suffered it's irreplaceable, and that there's nothing in our criminal justice system that's ever going to bring that person back. I've represented victims for 30 years, and I've stood in the gap, and I've held people at their worst moment in time, and often felt that the law was inadequate in what we were able to offer. The issue about lighter sentences, we have learned that sentences, whether sentences light or longer, is not at the heart of what they are experiencing. The focus in our criminal justice system, from my perspective, needs to be our ability to provide services and support to victims in their worst moment, which is what we've done in this office, is emphasizing that we need more victim services and more victim advocates and more diverse advocates that can speak to indigenous people and people who speak different languages or have different cultural backgrounds and beliefs, that we're making sure that we're serving the entire community. And I recognize, and I think the public should recognize, that every person grieves differently. And some people want vengeance and are feeling vindictive about someone that's harmed them, and some people don't have that same view. Our system is certainly victim-centered, but as prosecutors, as lawyers, we have to evaluate the evidence and decide what the charges will be and what charges we believe we can prove beyond a reasonable doubt. And we can't do that based on what the victim thinks or how the victim feels. That's our job.
If you could do it all over again, starting at the first day you took office, would you change your policy statements or any charging decisions?
No, I don't think so. My policy statements are important to improve the administration of justice. We did a very careful assessment of what the policies were with respect to charging before our administration. We surveyed the charging deputies. All the charging deputies were asked, what are you using? What kinds of tools do you have? What kind of training have you had on this specific area? We looked at the data on charging, which is very well known in Alameda County, that there is a race problem in terms of who gets charged, who gets convicted, what the sentences are. Studies have shown that we have tremendous racial disparity in the outcomes. of our criminal justice system. And I understood that it was important for me as the elected DA to begin to tackle that, both because of the will of the voters who voted overwhelmingly for criminal justice reform, as well as the mandate of the legislature under the Racial Justice Act. And so those are the things that we began to work on. And we took time and we surveyed our staff. And so I think that even though certain folks were not ready for that policy shift, it's been a long time coming and long overdue in Alameda County.
And my final question is, if recalled,
Mm-hmm.
nobody's saying you're going to be recalled, but if recalled, what would you do after that?
Well, my original plan was to go to Maui, and it's taken a setback because of the tragedy there. The locations where I thought I would end up are damaged and will take some time to recover. I am not looking for higher office. I'm a mature woman. I've had a great legal career. I've been totally fulfilled. I've been to the United States Supreme Court. So I have lived every lawyer's dream. If for some reason the residents of Alameda County were to decide that I could not help in this process, which is really why I'm here, is to make it better and to serve my community. And if that service is not appropriate or not, that it's not appreciated, then I'll do something else.
Madam DA, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Those are different questions, huh?
They are different. Like, what would I do? Like, I was going to Lahaina Town, and now it doesn't exist anymore, which is horrible. Kihei, I really was. My plan was to go to Maui.
My plan always, when I went there, was to go to Cheeseburger in Paradise. That was the only place to go, because you had the great view, great burgers, and all the beer you can drink. So when is this? If this is